right, everybody, here's time for something a little bit different.
Hey, y'all know who it is. It's your favorite concerned correspondent, the Gov here.
Your votes can shift and transform our nation.
Governor feels pain. He's a human. It's your favorite concerned correspondent, VA the Gov here with the latest episode of the Concerned Citizens Podcast, where we give citizens the freedom to speak to their concerns. This week we have Stephen Fuller, a veteran running for office. Find out what their concerns are and find out why more veterans are answering the call to run for public office. Lastly, don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, we're the place where you have the freedom to speak to your concerns. Let's go. How's everybody doing out there? I gotta get right. I'm sitting here, I don't have any type of frame on. I'm gonna reach in my bag. I'm gonna throw you off guard, but I like to have something on my eyes, and I don't want to go orange, so I'm going to go black today. You know who it is and what it is. It's your favorite concerned correspondent here, the Gov. We're sitting down with none other than Stephen Fuller. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, man, I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me out.
Now, don't get it twisted. You can see him, and when you look at him, you're like, who is that guy? That guy could be the next congressman. So we're going to get into it with him today, but let me relax, calm down, and ask you, if the listener couldn't see you, how would you describe yourself?
Average Joe, man, as average as it gets. I don't dress up. I don't, this is it. Whether I'm standing in front of 100 people telling people that I'm running for Congress, or I'm working at the brewery, or I'm at home, this is who I am. This is how I dress, man. I'm an average person, like I was saying, with the Army. I was the medium, regular, everything. Top, pants, hat, I was the standard, regular, average size.
Now, because you're an average guy, but you're not doing average things.
No.
I'm gonna ask the question a little different today than I normally would. Not being biased, but actually just being a little targeted. Because again, when someone looks at you, I would say you're the average guy.
Yeah.
Middle-aged, been in the military, had experiences, concerned about politics. So that would be the run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
But what would you say as a child you may have experienced, you may have seen, you may have encountered that shaped your perception of reality where it is today that would make you want to run for Congress?
Well, I'll be straight. My life's always been an open book. I always believe that if you told everybody the truth all the time, there's no hidden skeletons in your closet. There's nothing that people can be like, oh, I know something about you. So I'll tell you straight, I've never hidden, anything about my life. I mean, when I was a kid, I had a real rough upbringing. I mean, I was mentally, physically, sexually abused. I went through the whole gambit. My stepfather was about as bad as they get. And, he abused my mom, he did all this stuff, and I saw, something there, and they say that people tend to either emulate that and become an abuser themselves when they become older, or they go the opposite way. Everything that I saw that he was doing that I knew in my head and in my heart was wrong, and I make sure I never became that person. I wanted to be something that my mother could have been proud of, and to show people you can be a better human being and a better man,
Oh man, that always makes me think of sometimes having a bad dad is better than no dad, because you have an idea of what you don't want to be.
Yeah, you get to see it and you're like, I'm not going to be like this guy.
And that does, and this type of method does not work. Oh, I definitely see where you're coming from with that. And so, do you think that your mom would be happy, I assume,
it's always been a concern of mine, you know, like I remember this crazy story when I first graduated basic training, you know, becoming an infantryman in the Army. I went back home, and I mean, I was poor, I was broke. So I took a bus, and I was on this bus with this old lady who's sitting right beside me. She must have been like 60 or 70 years old. And I kept looking at my hands, and she asked me what was wrong. And I said, do these look like the hands of a hard-working man, like somebody that my mom would be proud of? You know, and that woman, she almost cried. She was like, that's your first thought, is that you care about what your mom's going to think of you. Because I hadn't seen her since I was 15. My mom threw me out when I was 15. I was a terrible child, don't get me wrong. The Army is the best thing that ever happened to me. But all I ever wanted to do the rest of my life was make her proud. Do things that would make her proud that I was her son. Even though I was a screw up as a kid, you know, that I turned my life around, and I've spent the rest of my life just hoping that I made her proud.
Man, that just makes that makes me feel good just to hear. Man, I'm kind of touched by that. So, seeing my life and hearing your words really make me think about the struggles that young men go through, and when they overcome them, what motivates them to do better. And to just hear another person that's like, yo, I just want to make my mom proud. That was one of the things that I always thought about after I overcame my struggles, is my mom and dad have always been there. What could I do to make them proud? So to hear you say that, it's just awesome. Now, as you grown up and you went through things that you went through, I guess even after you got kicked out of your house, did you experience homelessness at all?
Yeah, I was homeless for about 6 months, and then this lady found me, and she was really cool. She, honestly, she probably saved my life. I mean, I was at the bottom, you know, and she had a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and her husband was an over-the-road truck driver, so he was gone, you know, like 30 days at a time. So she said, you know, if I did the work and I put in the effort, you know, she'd give me room and board. So this lady gave me her spare bedroom, fed me, clothed me, and I worked my ass off for that woman on that farm. You know, I knew exactly what she was doing for me. And I stayed with her up until I joined the Army, you know, and it was her taking that chance on me is the only reason why I'm still here now, you know.
Just out of the mill question, was the lady that took you in, did she go to church or no?
No, not really. These are just, you know, people out there. And I mean, they were good people, but it was a farm in the middle of nowhere, so church really wasn't, you know, a part of their life. That's never been a big one for me, and I'll tell you this straight up. I don't care what religion you have, what faith you have, things like that. It's that key word, faith. I don't care if you believe a rock is your God, or Jesus, or, you know, Messiah, or whatever religion it is. It's faith. That's what's important. Believing in something. I've always believed there's something else. I never defined it by any religion, but I've always believed there's something there, and something has been looking out for me my whole life. And I pay attention every time somebody walks in the door with a proposal, or when the people at the brewery, you know, when times were hard and the government shut down, and a lot of my customers are DoD civilians or veterans or active duty, asking what's going to happen. Why isn't somebody doing something about this? We got to get the corrupt people out of there. And I listened. And for the first time in my life, I've never cared about politics and never wanted anything to do with it. But I listened, and after a couple of weeks, I was like, you know what? I have to do this. And it was a calling. And it's that those moments in your life when opportunity knocks on that door. Most people ignore it, or they think, oh, you know, I don't have a chance, or, you know, it's not meant for somebody like me. Open that door. Listen. You know, so every time one of those moments has come in my life, it has led to a great thing because I didn't ignore it.
Man, you hear it first, man. Opportunity comes, you have to answer the call. And so, through all of that, especially coming out of the military and knowing, we had a discussion about you and some of your extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Have you ever battled with mental health concerns?
I've had a lot of mental health issues. I'm actually a 100% disabled vet, and my girlfriend, you met, she has she's taking care of me. There are moments where it's really scary. The one thing I've never been suicidal. And unfortunately I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost more friends since I left the Army than I ever did from 3 tours in Iraq. Because that breakdown and there's nobody there to help, or they think they can't ask for help. And that kills me. My mind isn't wired that way. It is the same reason why the brewery still exists. It should have closed. We should have gone bankrupt 3 or 4 times. But I refuse to quit. I don't know how to. But I have been very, very dark places, moments where I was trying to destroy myself, but never suicide. You know, I've had times where I was hearing things. My voices inside my head were talking to me, telling me to do terrible things. And, you know, my first couple of years out of the Army, I got out before a lot of the care and programs that are available now to help veterans when they get out of the military. Those things didn't exist. I spent the first 2.5 years, almost 3 years after I got out of the Army, drinking drugs, trying to destroy those memories and who I was, because it was so bad. You know, waking up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, night terrors, screaming, smacking my girlfriend, not on purpose at the time, but you know, it's the whole just where you jerk, and I would kick in my sleep, I would punch in my sleep, and my mind trying to just destroy me. And so I did anything I could to try to dull that. And then I woke up one day and I was like, what am I doing? We've got to find a way. And that's when I took my life back over. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome to hear that someone was able to dig deep like that and be able to find like peace within themselves.
Yeah, that was the hardest part. You know, I came back from Iraq and I was still fighting a war inside my own head. And I was for a couple of years.
Man, so what do you think, if you were to look through all of that, whether it was the tours in Iraq or the things that you went through afterward, what would be something that you would point to this day that really shapes how you perceive things and is really the driving force to why you're running for Congress?
I've seen the worst of human beings. I've seen what truly evil men are capable of. And I promised myself that I could never let that just happen. Like, I'm that guy, if you're in a bar and you see a guy hit a woman, I'm immediately on his ass and I will beat him down and I will get his ass outside. Or if you see a woman, just as simple as dropping her purse, I'll come and help and I'll pick it up.
Right.
Or seeing somebody in the grocery store that can't afford all the groceries, so they put a little bit of it back. Even at my lowest, my poorest, I would stop what I was doing and pay for their stuff and then follow them and give it to them. You know, or buying somebody a meal at a restaurant without them even knowing you did it. Like, I like to do that over at Sheldon's Diner. I love that breakfast place.
Uh-huh.
I love going in there, and if I got some extra money in my pocket, I'll put it towards somebody else's meal and then never say anything and just walk out. You know, that do right mentality is so deeply ingrained in me because of how many terrible people I've met and terrible things I've witnessed, or terrible things that have been done, and nobody does anything about it. Especially in this day and age, everybody just pulls out their cell phone and they want to record it. Nobody wants to step in and help. Or when somebody's like, you know, I don't know what to do, I don't know what I'm supposed to, and everybody's just like, get over it, or, you know, you'll figure it out, but nobody steps in. You know, when you see that thing happen, you have to step in, you have to do that.
Do you think that the lack of service by this generation has, or either just a decline of service amongst young people over the past couple of years, do you think that has something to do with maybe that attitude of not knowing what to do because they've never really been taught?
I think there's a couple things. One is we are now in that, and I learned this because I was arguing with somebody, and then it finally dawned on me. It's not this generation, everybody's blaming, Generation X, Millennials, Gen Z, whatever. I don't think it's the generations, it's this time in our history. Because I've seen older people, 60, 70 years old, playing on their phone while they're driving and hit somebody. It's not younger generations. Or people coming in and I think it's this time in our history. That's the issue. Because I've seen young people do great things, and I've seen older people ruin somebody else's life. So I don't think it has anything to do with your age. I think it's what's happened, and the younger people are more susceptible because they don't have as much to look back on your experience. They don't have as much experience. It's not that their generation is any worse or better. It's that they don't have that experience to fall back on.
I have a question. It just kind of dawned on me. You described yourself as just the average Joe, and I don't think that that's something new. So being in the military and even your time afterward, being the average Joe, have you found yourself being like the fly on the wall where people forget that you're in the room and you see and things have happened? Like, is that a common thing that people forget that you're there?
I'm a big people watcher, and I don't like to talk over somebody else. Like if I'm carrying on a conversation, somebody else butts in and they just start talk, I'll step back and I'll let them talk, and I'll let them think they're the bigger person. I've got a really bad habit of that, in a good way, I guess. It depends on how you look at it. But yeah, I don't, over talk myself, especially, with veterans. I've met ones that just love to tell all the stories, talk about how great they are, how amazing they are. And you see it in every day. It doesn't have to be a veteran, but any day, everyday life, people will come in and they have to tell you how great they are, how amazing they are, how much better they are than everybody.
Right.
And I hold that back. And even some of my employees that worked for me for a year or two, every now and then a story will come up and they'll be like, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know, a lot of people, I try not to brag. If I wanted to, I could run down a laundry list of things about myself, but there's other people that want to talk more than me, and I'll let them talk. That's why I was so happy the other night when we did that event here, that I was one of the last candidates to speak, because I got to listen to everybody else first, and then I got my 90 seconds, and I loved it.
Man, I'm forever grateful that you came out. Now, getting to the concern, what, as a citizen who is concerned enough to actually put forth effort to run and do the things needed to do to serve their country, at this day, at this time, what are your concerns?
Well, the easiest thing, the three things I'm running on, this is very simple. Everybody else is making their big promises and all that. I'm running on three things. One, there needs to be some kind of term limits. People shouldn't be in office 30 or 40 years. They've completely lost touch with reality. They've lost touch with their constituents. I don't care how good you started off. There's a point where you've lost touch with real people and real things. And to the point where I've already signed the promissory for, if I get elected, that I will immediately vote for the term limits. There's a nonprofit organization that's been trying since 1994 to put term limits into effect, and so they sent a promissory note to everybody running for Congress, everybody in America that's running for Congress, and I was one of only, I think, 4 or 5 that signed it.
What? Hold on, you mean only like 4 or 5 actually signed for term limits?
Out of there's like 800-900 people that are running for Congress right now across the country. We've got 8 just in our district. Yeah, there's only 4 or 5.
So, quick question, just to give do you happen to know the nonprofit's name off the top?
It's called U.S. Term Limits.
People, make sure you go check out U.S. Term Limits, because
they've got a website where they list everybody who signed it.
Now, that's one. What would be the second?
Second one, you should not be allowed to buy and sell and trade stock while you're in office. You're not there to become a millionaire. How many of those congressmen have gone into office at a decent amount of money and then they come out, multi-millionaires because they've got all that inside information? And I look at Nancy Pelosi, that's a huge one that everybody talks about all the time. If you were to buy stock the way she buys stock, she'd be a millionaire. So I don't think you should be, that's not why you're there. You're not there to get rich. You're there to serve the people. So that should be an easy one. And number 3, and most importantly, and this is why I started running, if the government shut down for any reason and we're not paying people, politicians shouldn't be getting paid. Your pay should stop the second you don't approve the budget to get the government open. You know, during those 45, 60 days that we were shut down, politicians shouldn't be getting paid, but every one of them was.
How would you label your view of politics? Because it sounds people politics.
I think it's awful. That's why I tell people I'm not a politician. I have never been interested in my politics in my entire life. Most veterans, when we get out of the military, we want nothing to do with it except to be left alone. And I have, my entire life, I've stayed out of it. I don't. Every time people come into the brewery and started talking politics, I was like, we don't talk politics in here. I never wanted anything to do with it. So, like a good friend of mine said, I'm not a politician. I'm a statesman. I want to be a representative of the people.
Now,
so every Thursday we have the Balanced Rook Chess Club. They come in there because they used to meet at the library, but their group grew so much the library said they couldn't use it anymore. So they went around to a bunch of breweries in town and asked if they could use the space, and everybody told them $200-300 an hour to be able to use their tap room for this club. He came in to me. His name's Lloyd. He came in, and I was like, by all means, I'd love to have you. No questions asked. No minimums. You don't have to buy anything. Most of them just get water or soda, and I don't care. This group has grown from 18 or 19. The last meeting they had 38. People playing chess, having a good time, meeting each other. A brewery is supposed to be a community hub. That's what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be a place that people can come together.
Is that what you define community as people coming together?
Yes, without not a profit, but I'm trying to think of the right word for it, without personal incentive, without something in it for you, just to come out to be part of a community, part of a social group, whatever it is you're interested in, being able to come together and meet without it costing you something. You know, to me, that's what community is shared interests. And even if it's not a shared interest, getting to meet that person, getting to understand them, getting to know what it is that they enjoy, what they like, what makes them tick.
So, I like the fact that you identified yourself as a statesman. I like the way that you're going because it seems like that you're willing to listen to the people, fight for the people. So, I guess the common answer would be the people to this question, but outside of your family or like your loved ones, outside of your house, who would you or what would you fight and die for?
Veterans, 100% in a heartbeat. And so many of my customers and my Mug Club members, the regulars that come in there, I vigorously defend them and protect them. You know, the things we do there, with being the only brewery in America to ever start in a VFW, the only brewery in America, we donate 100% of our profits every month to charity. I'm always giving it back. It's not for me. I'm not doing any of this for me. I'm keeping those doors open. 18 months, almost 2 years ago now, we had a really bad month where I would have had to have closed. I wouldn't have made payroll. I sold my motorcycle, the only thing in the world I owned at that time. And I went 18 months without owning a vehicle because I needed to sell that motorcycle to keep the brewery open. People don't realize that. You know, this business is about making money. I have put in my personal money for 5.5 years. I put in $2,000 to $3,000 a month out of my disability check, which means I lived off $500 a month for almost 5 years to make sure this brewery succeeded, to make sure we could keep doing our mission. On months when we couldn't donate any money, I pulled it out of my pocket to make sure we were always donating, that we were always giving back. We never charge taxes, service charges, credit card fees, any of that. Because when you walk in the door, I want you to know whatever it is I tell you it costs, that's all it costs. There's no extra crap at the bottom. You can go to get a receipt from almost any restaurant, brewery, bar in this town, and there's a line of so many extra charges, you know, and we include all that in the price. So I don't make money. I've never cared about making money.
So, do you think that there will be, or there could be a time where the veterans say enough is enough?
I think we're getting really close to that point. If you take a look across the country right now, not just my congressional race, the governor's race, senators' races, all across the state, even our own mayor. You know that John Tigg is running for mayor. And he's the hero of Benghazi, the book and the movie and all that.
Yeah.
He's running for mayor here in Colorado Springs. There are so many veterans across the country right now running. Look, on the Democratic side, we have 3 veterans that are running. On the independent side, which is just me, I'm running. In the governor's race right now, you got 3 or 4 veterans that are running. You have senators that are veterans that are running. Everybody is so sick of it, and it's it's gotten bad when veterans are the ones stepping in now going, we have to do something.
Are you, speaking from a veteran's perspective, are you a fan of the current leader of the Department of Defense?
Not at all. Not at all. You shouldn't be. He's treating it like he's an influencer. You know, the way he talks and all the talk shows he's going on and the way he treats people when he's speaking to them. Instead of being, to me, from a veteran's perspective, you should be a hard line. If you're Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, whatever we're going to call it now, if you make a hard line, you stand to it. That's who you are. That's what you represent. Don't go back and forth. Oh, I didn't stay to watch the second half of the video. Oh, I didn't know about this. Or what are you talking about? If you are the top line for the military, you should have your shit wound pretty tight. I don't mean to cuss, but it really bothers me because, that's that point where you're supposed to be, the leader of the military. And you're coming off wishy-washy, and you're hiding behind things. You're being political. That's not the job to be political.
I was wondering, because in my mind when you describe it like that, I'm like, that's politics, but you don't, not in that position do you play. No,
you shouldn't be.
Play politics.
Yeah, and that's the problem is when politicians get involved in the military. This should be 2 separate things. Your military there is to defend your nation and go to war. That's what you do. The rest of that has nothing to do with the military. Keep that separate. Politicians are politicians. That's why you never see any of them put on a uniform and go deploy. You're not going to see a congressman put his uniform back on and go back over there. So politicians, they make the policies and they decide all of that, and then the military goes in and we hammer stuff. That's our job. Keep them separate.
Do you play chess yourself? Which is why I brought that up.
A little bit. I've been able to beat a few of the people over there at the chess club. So I'll set up one of the chess boards up at the bar so any of them can come up and play me. Or if we're slow and nobody's ordering a bunch of food, I'll walk around, and if somebody's looking for somebody to play, I'll play them.
And the reason why I ask that is because when you get to the federal level, are we seeing that there takes an additional level of statesman or statehood? How do I want to phrase it? I mean, do you think that there's a new level of chess being played as far as if you want to get things done in the current atmosphere?
That's one of the things I am genuinely the most excited for. There hasn't been an independent in Congress in almost 10 years. And you saw it the other night. They didn't know what to do with me. The crowd loved me. They were all cheering. But if you looked around the room at the other people I'm running against when I got done my speech, they didn't know what to do. They're not used to a plain guy that doesn't have money, that doesn't have backing, that wasn't wearing a fancy suit, that doesn't stand there polished. I'm not polished. I'm not designed for politics. So when I get in there, that's the idea. Right now, you listen to it over the last few years. Republicans blaming Democrats, Democrats blaming Republicans. Everybody's talking about how it's this side's fault, or we have to reach across the aisle to make a deal, or we have to get a certain number of these people to betray their side so that we can get a vote to pass. What are they going to do when there's an independent there? Right down the middle of that aisle, there's me. All these Republicans, all these Democrats, but they're going to have to deal with me. It's not the other way around. When it comes time to make these things work, I'm going to sit down, go through page by page, because I've got, my staff that have come together and they've been helping me, and I got some really smart people that are helping me, and we're going to read every one of these bills, and I'm going to call out all the crap, And what else I'm going to do that's different is I'm going to come back here and I'm going to talk to all my constituents and be like, hey, here's this bill. Here's what it really means. How do you guys want me to vote? I'm just not going to take this and run because you voted for me. Now I'm, the mastermind in charge of everything. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to talk to everybody and be like, what do you guys think? How do you want me to vote? I'm your representative. Doesn't mean that I've got free reign and power to do whatever I want. I'm still supposed to come back and talk to you.
I'm supposed to serve.
And they're not going to know what to do with me in Congress because I can't be bribed. I can't be bought. I don't have any strings on me. I don't owe anybody. I made it clear the day I started my campaign. No donations over $50, period. I don't care who you are. No big businesses, no PACs, no, none of that. And I haven't let anybody donate more than $50 to me. So I don't owe anybody. The first time somebody tries to bribe me, I'm going to take their picture, I'm going to post it all over social media. I can't wait. The lobbyists, all of those, they're not going to know what to do. They've never met somebody like me. I grew up poor. The most money I ever made in my life was my last year in the military, my last deployment as a staff sergeant. I got made like $72,000 for the year because that was tax-free, because I was deployed, because I was an E6 and I was married. That's the most money I've ever seen in my life. The last 6 years since I started the brewery, less than $30,000 a year. And that's what I live off of. And I'm very happy. So what are they going to offer me that's going to do anything? A junior congressman makes $186,000 a year. That's 4 times more money than I've seen the majority of my life. So what are they going to offer me that I'm not already going to get? They can't. They're not going to know what to do.
I love this. I love this. Now, if there was a lasting message that you would leave, what would it be?
That I am available literally 7 days a week. You can walk into the brewery every day of the week. For the last 1,229 days, I've been at that brewery. That brewery has never closed its doors, and I've only ever taken 5 days off in all that time. So if you want to know something, if you want to talk to me, you can walk in the door, I'm always there. I dare you to go find any other representative that's available for their constituents every single day. And if I make it into office, I have to be in DC less than 100 days a year. You know where I'm going to be the other 250 days a year? At the brewery, doing what I love. So you can walk in that door any day and talk to me. I'm really there. Nothing's going to change about me.
And I think that you will fight for the people. I look forward to going on this journey with you. I look forward to following you in your campaign. If there's anything that we can do to help, I look forward to coming to some of your events to cover you.
I appreciate that.
Just because as a veteran, I see what you're saying, and I mean those words. I see literally what you're saying as I go out and I deal with people. And we need someone that's really willing to advocate for the people.
Yeah.
And I not just do it, but have what I think is needed to actually fight.
Yeah.
Because
even if they don't like me, even if they don't want to vote for me, I ask everybody this one simple thing, and it's fun. Go to every one of the candidates here in District 5. Go to their Facebook page. Ask them a question or comment on one of their posts. See how long it takes them to respond, or see if they even respond. Most of them don't answer anybody. I've been watching. Then go to my page and ask me the same question, or just comment on one of my pictures. Be like, hey, cool picture. And I will respond to you. My average response time is 8 minutes.
man, you're way better than I am. Man, goodness gracious.
I've been doing that for the brewery for years. Everybody's like, oh, politicians don't have time, or that's why they have staff. I've been doing it for the brewery for 6 years. Every email, every phone call, every text, every comment on Facebook, I'm the one who replies to you.
Wackadoo Brewing, how did, how did the name come, and what makes your beer different?
All right, so the name started off as a bad joke. It means crazy, weird, or different. Everything I've done. I mean, I've been blown up a few times, so I'm a little off. But, like running for, why would I run for Congress? But the same thing applies to the brewery. You walk in the doors, we're unlike any other brewery. There's crazy, weird stuff up on the walls. Nothing's ever quite right. Some of my beers that I come up with are just insane. But they work. And what makes them different is we do not use any artificial flavorings or pumped syrups or any of that. Everything in there is all natural ingredients. In every single one of my beers, I make 151 different beers, 20 on tap at all times. We're the only brewery in town that makes our own non-alcoholic beer, because I've got some veteran friends of mine that know they shouldn't be drinking, but they miss being able to come out and be a part of a social gathering, or they just enjoyed beer, but now they need it without the alcohol. So I started making non-alcoholic beers over 4 years ago, before it was the trend and the cool thing.
Yeah.
So now there's all kinds of news articles. Breweries need to pay attention. Start watching your non-alcoholic market. I'm like, I've been doing that before, without any money. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing it for the showmanship. It's about, because I've got customers that miss coming out, but don't want alcohol. So now we do it.
Yeah, and do you, so how did you wrestle with alcohol and your history and all of that to be able to start a brewery?
I saw what it had done to some of my friends, and I saw what it had done to my family members. I've got our whole family's got a bad disposition to addiction. I just found other things to be addicted to. So for me, it's, your mind's a scary thing, especially some of the stuff I've been through. So I never drink to the point where I pass. There's like that line between being buzzed and being drunk, and I never pass that line. I'll go in, I'll have a couple of beers, but they're spread out over several hours so I can be social with my customers, and I enjoy the taste of beer.
Right.
But I keep them spread out, and I keep them lower alcohol. Like a lot of breweries, their beers are 7, 8, 9% alcohol. You walk in my brewery, 16 of them are 5%. You know, somewhere in that range. I only have 1 or 2 big beers on tap in case somebody wants one. But I keep it easy. I keep myself under control. And that's been that moment that even when I start to get like a light buzz, I'm like, okay, that was it. Just a couple of beers, you know? Because I know where that tipping point is, I know where that line is, and I know what can happen. So I've always taken care of myself. I like to be under control. I like to know that I'm still in the right mind, because I've been a public figure, not in politics, but for being the brewery owner. You never want to be. I've known some other brewery owners that no longer in town, but they used to get drunk at their own bar, and then their customers are seeing that, and that's embarrassing. I never wanted that.
Man. And so, just so that everyone can know how to follow you, what to do, let everybody know how to follow the campaign, where you are, and what you need them to do for you.
Absolutely. It's StephenFuller.net, so StephenFuller.net. That takes you to our website. Very, very simple. It's got the links to all my social media on there, and then there's a donate button. And like I said, I tell everybody, so please, $1 or $2 is great. I appreciate it, but nothing over $50, please. I don't want that. And if you want to meet me in person, 5158 Centennial Boulevard, Colorado Springs. That's Wackadoo Brewing. And I am literally there 7 days a week. And if I'm not there, all my staff know. They'll take down your information, and I'll reach right back out to you. I got a lady that came to that event the other night because she met me at the brewery.
Yes!
And it was so amazing because people can't believe it's real. Like when people say, how do you donate 100% of your profits every month? You can't really be doing that. We really do. Wait a minute, you're really available 7 days a week as a candidate? Yes, I am.
Well, I do have to ask this question. What's up with these Italian sliders I hear you're serving them?
Oh my God. Yes, so Renee does an Italian dinner every Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night you come in, $12, you get a full plate meal and your dessert. No tax, service charge, nothing. $12, you can't get that anywhere. You can't even get that at McDonald's. And she makes these, they're amazing. So it's like the King Hawaiian rolls, butter and garlic on top, and then all the different Italian meats on the inside, roasted potatoes on the side. Oh man, And then for dessert, this time she's doing cheesecakes.
Okay. Well, you see, I know something about it. So
you've been paying attention.
I was asking the wife what the plans were, but I like your definition of community, of people coming together without ulterior motives.
Yeah.
And so I look forward to building with you, just as a member of the community, just as a veteran that wants to support another veteran.
Thank you.
Here on the Concerned Citizen, we're just glad that we were able to give you a voice in the platform and an opportunity to do what's most important, which is each of us sharing a little bit about ourselves, but also sharing what our concerns are about in the community. And what I think that you have really pointed out is, like, one, politicians having a restriction on their power, but two, politicians being remembered on who they're loyal to.
Exactly. Who got you there? Not
Who
the
got
big
you
money.
there?
It's the people, the constituents, the people of the district. That's who you're supposed to represent. You are supposed to be beholden to the people in our district. And I think they've all forgotten that.
I just have to ask. So you brought up a time period, and over that time period, there were federal representatives of Colorado in the headlines for their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
As a citizen, how did that make you feel?
It's embarrassing. Every time I see something like that, they're supposed to be my representative, so they're supposed to represent me. And when they do something like that, it blows me away. It's like, you're supposed to be the best of us. You know, you're supposed to be that representative. And they don't take it seriously. They get up there, you know, whether it's doing drugs or prostitutes or God, or whatever it is they're doing. But it's like, you were supposed to be the best of us. You know?
Did it call to your attention when the water bill was shot down, and it was more not due to the actual bill, but due to games, I would say?
The problem is like a lot. Because of how fast we get our information nowadays, instantly in your hand. There's a lot of quick knee-jerk reactions, and I think we need to slow down just a little bit to find out the truth. And over time, there was more to that story. Like the water had started years prior, and that they needed a certain number of proposals or bids on the job. And so what I found over time, once everybody kind of calmed down about it, is there was a lot more to it than just Trump turned it down. There was more to that issue, and it wasn't just to punish Colorado. However, there is a lot of crap going on right now that looks like we're just getting punished, and I hate that. And sometimes I wish people wouldn't get on as much as they do, tweeting and shit in the middle of the night. I think we need some filters. But it's become such a keyboard warrior. It kills me to say, but on that level, it's not just like kids or us, you know, angrily typing to each other. It's people that are opening their mouth and throwing crap out without thinking at all about what they're saying, what they're doing, or what the impact could be. I think we've lost some of that that soul, you know, of should I be saying, just because I can say this, should I say this? Whatever happened to your mom said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it.
But
No?
I think to bring our interview full circle, I think it goes back to it's easy to say something when you're not worried about the person you're saying it to punching you in the face.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I have met plenty of people like that. And I think you're absolutely right. There's that line of there has to be a punishment, you know, and if you're never afraid of getting punished, what's to stop you from doing a bad thing, you know? And I think that applies to every aspect of our lives, even like the integrity. We were taught that in the military. Doing what's right in the absence of others. Just because somebody's not standing over you, making sure you're doing the right thing, why shouldn't you still be doing that right thing?
Not that
You know?
right.
And I think we've lost that way in morals and integrity. You know, when now if somebody's not standing over me doing, you know, making sure I'm doing it, why am I doing it? You're doing it because it's the right thing.
I'm good. I'm glad to hear that. So when they show you all these loopholes where they can give you some money, you'll be like, nope, I'm not going to take that money. It's not the right thing to do. I'm here for the people. I'm not here for the money.
And I'm genuinely going to call them out. Every time somebody tries that, I'm going to call them out until the point where everybody's going to avoid me. The lobbyists and the big money, they're going to avoid me because they know I'm going to call them out.
But you would have already done the job of the people by then.
Absolutely. Oh, I'll always take care of the people.
It's been an honor.
And we got to get you on our podcast too.
Yes. Now, you got to tell me how we set that up.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Concerned Citizens Podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button below. Follow us on Facebook or our Facebook group page, the Concerned Citizens Podcast. This is a place where you can meet other like-minded individuals, interact with guests, and request your spot to be on the show. Remember, the Concerned Citizens Podcast is a platform that gives you, the citizen, the freedom to speak to your concerns. Let's go. God bless.